John did.
Ready for this?
Mr. Chair, we're live.
Ready to
We're
go?
live, yes.
Okay, I'll call our meeting to order, our waste and water education meeting. And we have an agenda in front of us. There's a couple of additions under correspondence. B is a letter from Jamie Watson. I think everybody has got that. That would be B, and then C is the family health team. It's a request for some tables and chairs set up for a temporary clinic after the flood. Anything else for the agenda? Have a motion? Richard and a seconder, Rose. Anybody opposed? That's carried. Any declaration of pecuniary interest? None. Minutes from our last meeting in December the 4th. And have those moved. Brian?
Yeah.
John? Thank you. Any questions, any comments, or me? Yes,
I would like to, I'm not on this committee, but I see that Adam has been on here for making 2 or 3 motions. So I wonder, I think I kept my mouth shut, so I don't think I made a motion. What we should do, we leave them or do we just, what do we do about it?
I'd rather have somebody who's on it, maybe just put my name in. Unless I, or got one here that you and I did, so I guess I can't do that.
We'll review the video of the minutes and we'll correct that.
Okay, thanks,
Okay.
Denise.
Whoopsie. Sorry.
thank you. Anything further on the minutes? Just have one. There was some discussion about the Province Bay Spring Bay Historical Society and Discovery Center Board merging, and there was a direction to proceed with a meeting with the 2 boards. Is there any update at all on that?
I can provide some clarity. There was a meeting of the Providence Bay Community Center Board this week. They did speak regarding some of that items. I'm not sure exactly. They were talking more about using the recreating a historical society room as part of the Discovery Center. I know that they were talking briefly regarding joint venture between the 2 groups and or maybe a merger between the 2 groups. But there's going to be a delegation next month at WWE by what's his name, the gentleman who chairs that committee. Alex. Thank you, Alex. Right, and I think you'll have some more information there. He wants to wait to make sure that the historical society is on board before they come to WWE and speak at the school. So they just want to have some further communication between the 2 groups, and they'll report back to you here at the next WWE meeting.
Okay, thanks, Adam. Anything further on the minutes? Anybody opposed to accepting those minutes? That's carried. And we are down to our old business. We've got A, B, and C, and they're all in progress. So I think we'll skip down to new business and waste management discussion. We have John has given us some points, and I would like to look at his first point and have discussion. John can have discussion on that. The property on Monument Road South for a transfer station and generation. I'll ask John to explain what he means by generation. Go ahead, John.
Okay, so we have approximately 80 acres at the bottom of Monument Road, and I think it's more reliably referred to as the abattoir. Behind that road, and we have a couple of cesspools or pools that we drop our waste in. But anyhow, the 80 acres there is sitting with an MOE designation, but not the right one to start with. But the thought is that we go in and start preparing that land for the purpose and the idea of doing our recycling anywhere from what we're doing right now is our wood chip, concrete, recycling bins, anything that we're doing in Providence Bay dump would be transferred over to the bottom of Monument Road. Mostly because it's a larger site that we would be able to at least take 20-25 acres and start developing that as our center for recycling for the Central Manitoulin. That would in turn cause the closing of Providence Bay, which would create a better atmosphere rather than having the recycling facility in and around, we'll call it a beach town or down at the lake. The intent is to look at what we recycle, what we can turn into the possibility of having a cogeneration facility that would not only take our garbage, but we would be able to process our own garbage. We already see there's a program in play and in process in Gore Bay, it's west. They're doing a project. We had a presentation last month that proposed something different than what they're doing. But the end result was the same. You're still producing or generating electricity. So the idea is to have a larger site and that there is a building that's sitting there not doing anything. I have no idea what the owner might propose or has in mind to do with this building in the future or near or far. But there's a building there. There's 3-phase power sitting there already. The only issue is developing a flat area to start the process of doing our recycling. And I'm looking at all our wood, all our brush that we take. We do chip it already currently, but I'm talking on a little larger scale. And then when you start dealing and handling waste, there is as we all know, there's a separation of waste. There's the development of waste that the province is taking away, but more importantly is the processing of waste that we generate ourselves. And by generating our own facility and electrical generation through steam, we are putting employees to work in our municipality, and we are controlling things in our municipality. There are no questions. There's no limits as to if you've got a breakdown on other facilities that lasts longer than 3 weeks. I'm sorry about your luck. You better start taking it down the road to Espanola. The intent is to try and keep away from doing anything in the way of hauling our refuge down the road to somebody else. I think the idea is to start. I think the idea is to try and get funding to progress this through. And I believe that there are funds available that if we put a plan together with some costs, with some ideas and a plan to start putting a facility together for Central Manitoulin and only Central Manitoulin at this time. I think the funds are available to us, that if we approach it appropriately, I think those funds would be coming our way at very little expense to the municipality, other than to kind of get it up and start it and running. So what I'm looking for is kind of a discussion on this topic and maybe a direction to staff to have a look at doing this type of operation at our 80-acre site and at the end of, at the bottom of Monument Road. Now, this leads into a larger site than what we're using at Providence Bay dump site. We need a larger area if you go the route of a full recycling facility and including a generation similar to what West is doing out at Core Bay. So according to the numbers the proponent brought to us last month, he used a figure of 8 tons a day is what was required. So if you look at the tonnage that we have, or that we produce, that we ship off island, the tonnage works out to about 250 days. So that given the sizing and the change in equipment, just in less than a year, or maybe a little better than a year, the engineering part of it is changing. 2 or 3 years, the gentleman had said, we should probably be ready to bring his product onto the market. So even if we looked at developing the 80 acres or a portion of it, we would be at least 2, 3, maybe even 4 years away from anything happening. The last item of interest is the building that's already sitting there doing nothing at this point in time. In the direction to staff would be also the direction to talk to the owner and see if he has any future plans for that building. Because that building would maybe suit part of the what is required to develop a generation and generation system to actually burn garbage and generate electricity. So it's a thought, it's an idea that I wanted to bring forward so that if there were some time for staff and some money allotted to it to bring this forward and start working on it. That was the idea of the conversation.
Okay. Any discussion? Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a plan that I've thought of. We've actually discussed before on that location. I think staff would really have to look into hydro to make sure that the lines that are there can handle any hydro generation. I do know that hydro themselves are steering away from it on the island now because they figure that there's too much of it here now going into their lines. So that's something that would have to be looked into, but I do think that there is a possibility there of being able to develop that property and having staff look into what it's going to take for environmental impacts and everything else would probably be a good idea, Joe.
Any other?
Just good.
Go ahead, Brian.
How does that fit in with that study we had done prior to this term? That was done by Cambria or something like that. There was a waste management study done.
They did look into that property
Yeah.
as maybe part of an overall plan. Yeah, they did.
Does it fit into this? What the next steps are?
Well,
I know they had
yeah.
a master plan for the whole thing and
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did have a master plan for what we could look for in the municipality, but I think this is over that plan. That was just a plan that a future or a place that we could go. We're gonna see if we can't develop that property now.
Go ahead, Rich.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to take a few resources and have a look at what we have there and how we could utilize it for a better purpose than just sitting there vacant. We do need it. We need the place to put the solid waste or the processed waste from her plant, but still lots of room there to look at it. So I wouldn't disagree with it at all.
So would this be just a direction to staff maybe at this point?
I think all we want is some basic background information right now to see what's going on. We're also still talking and looking through the operation there at Gore Bay. So I think we're needing to do them both at the same time and be prepared if one doesn't work, then maybe the other one will.
Yeah, I mean, we have a well operating recycling sites already, so I question whether to put a lot of energies and staff time and money into trying to look for another site. I don't think there's any jeopardy of us losing our recycling site. Right now, we've signed the contract with GFL for this year, and there's no talk about any problems with our recycling eco center, is there?
Not that I know of, I haven't heard anything like that. From a long-term perspective, I have heard that, we've got about 40 years left at Dodge. Before that, things will start to go down a different road. 40 years is a long time, clearly, but,
No, it's not.
no, you're right, no, it's not, I mean, because truthfully, you'd have to be planning a ways out, so your point is well spoken. But yeah, so I mean, there's that, and the recycling program, the truth is that we are in an experimental phase, basically, with the province. Like, I mean, right now, we're following their lead on it, no one really knows 100% where they're gonna go on it. So there's nothing that's set in stone either way to give you any direction, per se, on what is a better option than the other.
As far as funding, I know there's funding for new technology. And definitely West, the Gagne project has received quite a bit of funding. But there's in a multi-million-dollar project already, and it's in phase 2. The concrete is poured and the steel is there for starting in the spring. So they're up and running. We already had an opportunity to look into that, and we decided not to lease a piece of property, and they were going to cover all the cost as they're doing for. So I definitely think if that's a go this coming year and it's up and running, to me, it's a good opportunity to move our waste audit there instead of shipping it all the way to Dodge. I mean, it would take a while, but that could be done.
Well, every year, it's probably between, I have it in the budget somewhere, I have to look, but between $200,000 and $300,000 in terms of haulage.
Mhm.
I don't remember what it is, it's in the budget, today. We have to look at it later on when we look at the budget number, but it's, at least a couple $100,000, $300,000 in terms of haulage fees alone of garbage.
Mhm.
And I would assume that we would still be requiring GFL to run the trucks unless the municipality got their own garbage trucks and cut the GFL right out of the loop.
Mhm.
So there would be some issues there, but
Right. I just wonder about reinventing the wheel. We had that opportunity and it looks like they're, will be up and going this summer sometime. So anyways, anything further?
Just that it doesn't really matter whether we're hauling to Dodge or hauling to Gore Bay, we're still gonna have those haulage fees. They may not be as much going to Gore Bay as what they would be to Dodge, but. we'll
well,
still
my
have
point was that
haulage fees.
if as proposed, you did set up a site and we weren't hauling to Gore Bay anymore, we were hauling to the end of the road, basically, like Councilor Passaian was suggesting, then that would be our internal fee.
Yeah.
That we'd be charging ourselves in essence.
Yeah,
So I mean.
but I do think with John's idea that if we did have our own facility in that, then we could possibly look at having our own trucks and doing it ourselves and be saving all that haulage fee and tipping fees and everything else to the Dodge location and or to the Gore Bay location. So I don't think it's a waste of staff's time to see what it could possibly cost us to open up a location of our own and a facility of our own. I don't.
If, Mr. Chair, if I could add, it was looked at as far as the change, not hauling to Dodge dump, but actually hauling to the west end. Staff did look at it and it was $180,000 extra in charges that we could incur by having GFL at this point in time, take our garbage from from Central Manitoulin to the west end. That was the potential. And that was done by staff.
If I may, the reason behind that is because GFL already has a pre-designated route. This would be an additional to that designated route.
Yeah.
If the route was to be completely replaced with something else, like just going to the west end, maybe the cost differs. I don't know, because they're still bringing the trucks from off the island. So they're still gonna be charging us a fairly significant travel fee, for lack of a better term, to do a route. So I mean, yeah, I think it's just the fact that we're adding more to their existing route if they have to take it to Gore Bay. And that's why you have the extra 180,000.
Okay,
So. Yeah.
Derek?
Yeah.
So are we giving staff direction then?
you have to,
Going?
you can, if you want to.
I would like to.
What direction you want me to do? You're talking a lot of things here.
Everything.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Millions and millions.
Yeah.
Let's start by saying staff is directed to,
Into.
Explore the possibility of opening up a location and see what the environmental and ministry standards would be to do it, and some possible costing.
And we could have a conversation with the owner of the abattoir.
We could, but I think we should just explore what it's gonna take to open up that property through the MOE first. I think first and foremost, what it would cost, or what we would need to change from the MOE permits that we have now to what we would like to go to. I'm not on the committee, but we have sort of explored down this road before, so.
Okay,
So
direction,
Pretty good.
what do you?
I can rewatch this to get that wording exactly. Yeah, I have a rough idea.
I think, Mr. Chairman, we're not interested in blank check. We're interested in some very preliminary, looking at what there is as capability. Was MOE that closes down there a few years ago. I doubt very much that we're gonna get a whole lot of.
So you're looking for direction on the regulations and everything else, or do we have those already?
I think we should have them, because
Okay.
we were looking at it, and we're.
The cost
talking
regulations and any changes that we have to make to the site in order to be ready to go, and what that's gonna cost in order to do that?
Yeah,
That's
because
kind of what you're looking
I think
for?
basically what it's gonna be is a transfer station.
Yes.
And then possible add technology to it, but
So in essence, the cost of creating a new transfer
a
station.
new transfer station, I think
Yeah, but the MOE.
I think that's what the terminology would be, would it not be?
Yeah. It closes.
Yeah.
Okay. I can work with that and on that to a direction.
okay,
Thank you.
move on. Okay, we have our minutes from our Aqua 25 drinking water quality standards, and we've been given a review. Can I have a motion to accept that document? Brian? John? Questions, comments? From what I saw, the review is very complimentary. There are a few issues that are being dealt with and already looked after already, and the quality of water 100%. Anything else? It's a good read, but I think they're doing a really good job with their plant.
I did note, Mr. Chairman, that they, like us, have had staffing issues, and they're addressing those, so,
Everybody's in the same situation. Anything further? Anybody opposed to the motion of receiving that report? That's carried. Okay, let's go on to our correspondence. Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing, procedural non-compliance with our official plan amendment process. Who would like to begin on this one? Nobody? Adam, did you have anything on this?
There was a document that was sent out as correspondence, from the province of Ontario. Hope
Yeah.
you all got that.
Yeah.
If you can just, if you choose to just accept it as correspondence if you'd like.
We can do that.
I don't think it's that simple. I have a question.
Richard?
First one.
Yeah, go ahead, Derek.
Well, since nobody else wants to go at it, I will. I read the letter. And part of it is that they have to have a study done. To accommodate or to demonstrate the subject lands are not required to accommodate current and future growth of the town. Well, I looked at Google Maps. To the east, there's 1,000 acres of bush property just sitting there. To the west, there's 1,000 acres of bush property, and part of that is all shoreline, which I think would probably be developed before we would ever go to the north. I do not think that this chunk of agricultural land makes any difference in the housing strategy for the town of Providence Bay. And I question why the province says that people are responsible to get a study done to say that it's not going to affect housing in this municipality. It's ridiculous that people have to spend thousands of dollars on consultants to have them go, yep, there's property here, there's property there. I mean, I'm not a consultant, I'm not a very well-educated person, but I can look at a map and go, really don't see how this is going to affect housing in this town in any shape or form. And they also want to protect agricultural land. Well, I think by the municipality making the motion that we were waiving the requirement to have a study done and that we wanted it turned to agricultural land, I don't know why this council can't. Who controls the land in this municipality? Us or the government or the people? I think it's the people. And these people want, oh, I said those people, I'm not supposed to say that, Don Chair might fire me. Anyway, the people have said that they want this land, it's their property. If they want it switched to agricultural, why does the government need this requirement? That anybody could look at a map and go, it's not gonna make any difference. So I disregard this letter. I think it's ridiculous. And I think the municipality should be able to tell the planning board that we want to change because the people want to change and just have it done. I don't see any reason to have thousands and thousands of dollars spent here. There, I said my rant.
Right.
Very good, Brent. Oh, excuse me. I do agree with you, but unfortunately, by reading this letter, we sort of landed ourselves in a little bit of, could land ourselves in some legal problems. Just by reading this letter, but at the bottom there in their statements there, it said that they the ministry recommends that we put a hold on the application. Further down in that same statement, it says that if I guess we can recommend to the planning board that we recommend no study and process the application as a non-exempt OPA. So if we pass those motions, then are we not throwing it back into the planning board? And I also had a question and I never got an answer is, does the planning board work for us or do we work for the planning board?
I'm not sure, maybe that's
Yeah.
my little Kurt left.
So I don't know, but I mean, we dealt with this matter. We thought we were very fair how we dealt with it. we looked at all the information and then we made a ruling or whatever, we passed the motions. Now, all of a sudden, we ruffled some feathers somewhere, either at the ministry level or somewhere else, and we get this feedback. So, far as I'm concerned, I don't think we have much choice, unfortunately, the way they've written the letters that we could all be fined $25,000 if the ministry finds out that we deliberately contravene the municipal act or the acts of so I think we have to follow what they're saying here is that we put a hold on that, but then we recommend to the planning board that we approve the processing of this thing under a non exempt OPA. So, and then we put it right back into the planning board's hands, and they know where we're coming from on this, that we do recommend that it be processed and not go through a big study that's not required for, what is it, an acre? Something like that?
200 acres,
200 acres?
Acres.
Yeah, so,
200 acres of thousands.
yeah, which has been agricultural land since 1930 or something, so. Anyway, that's my feel on it.
Anybody else? John?
The last paragraph of the letter. If it is not demonstrated that the proposed OPA will have no impact on the ability of the planning area as a whole to accommodate projected populations and employment forecasts, the application should be processed as a non-exempt OPA. So there's a report that's actually missing, is what they're saying. So I'd suggest you send it back to staff to come back to council with a recommendation of going forward with this. Either it goes back to Teresa Carlin back in Gore Bay, the planning board, or it gets addressed directly by Central Manitoulin to the people that wrote the letter, which is the regional director, municipal services.
Anything else?
Yeah.
Richard?
Yeah, the process is so convoluted, it's almost impossible to determine who's responsible for making the decision. At one point, they're saying in here that as the approval authority, and they're talking from the ministry, it's the ministry's letter, the ministry maintains the right to review, comment on, and appeal an OPA, which is what we're dealing with. And then on the next part of this same letter, they're saying that we have to have, the municipality has to have a recommendation from the planning board. And without that recommendation of acceptance, it has to be processed as a non-OPA. So we don't have any authority as far as I can see at this point. It's got to go back through the whole process and deal with the planning board and with the ministry. And why we're even involved with it is contrary to the latter, as far as I'm concerned. So I can't accept it as an authority to do anything other than send it back for clarification.
But has the municipality already declared it a non-compliant OPA? I mean, we said we put it through without the study. So I would say that we've already said that it's non-compliant and do it. What seems to be the problem? Because they tell us we can.
Well, they just
In the last paragraph, they say we can.
already told us that they want it stopped. And if we don't stop it, then we're subject to their discretion.
Yeah.
So that means those fines can or may be applied.
But actually, it's not telling us to stop it, it's telling us to hold it until such time as so let's not put the word stop in there, because let's just hold it and temporarily hold it until maybe we need some more information on this. how to proceed with it, but to stop it and just say, okay, it just burns me. But
I agree with Counselor Stevens too, that it's not a very pretty picture that we're given the responsibility and then as we move on it, then it's pulled out from under us and we're told you do it and you're subject to the fines that we've been given an opportunity to review from Denise there.
That's what bothers me is that, planning board didn't make any recommendation. They gave it to us. We made the motion. As soon as we made the motion, they didn't like that. I don't know what kind of correspondence and conversation went back and forth from the planning board to the ministry. But I imagine there was a lot said. We obviously had a big list of emails, but something in there between the planning board and the ministry triggered that, oh, what we're proposing isn't, they don't want. And yet they gave us the right, and we didn't need the approval. We took it our own exemption under the rulings of the ministry to make that motion. Now they want to backtrack. I see just two options: is to have the land, it's in residential housing, either to leave it that way and still have all the rights of agriculture, or to do the study and get the amendment. I guess we could go that route to the non-compliant OPA, but I'm not sure where that's going to lead us down.
May
See, I understand why we need studies done. If somebody's taking land and turning it into something that it's not, wanting to put in subdivisions or wanting to put in industrial or what, and then you should have those environmental impacts and stuff like that on what the land's going to do. But this is changing land that is agricultural to agricultural. Nothing's actually changing except the name. Rural residential to agricultural. And just by their parameters, oh, they got to know about future housing and development and everything else for the town. Well, they said you can look at the surrounding acreage around the town. This land is not going to make any difference in it, and that's what the study is about. So I don't understand why we just can't just do the OPA and say we're doing it. Like $25,000 fine, I'd like to see them do it. Like, go for it. Don't make difference to me. I don't have any money anyway, and 3 square a day would be fine for me. So I don't have a problem challenging the government. So that's just me. But I think eventually somebody has to tell the government, look, enough's enough. Who's in control here? So anyway, that's just my theory, and I think we should be able to do what we want.
I comment?
Yeah, go ahead,
Thank you.
Denise.
Historically, OPAs required the minister's approval. In 2020, they changed that. They basically said, ministry said that if the OPA was not far reaching, as in it was encompassed only within your municipality, then the local council had the authority to approve any amendment to the OPA. Well, first of all, our OPA does not encompass just Central Manitoulin. Our OPA encompasses a broader area than just Central Manitoulin. And it's because our planning board plans for 3/4 of the island. Okay, so now we have an OPA that's come to us that is in essence against the provincial policy. So we have made a recommendation to circumvent the requirement for the report on an OPA that has a broader context than just our municipality. And that's why the ministry is saying, whoa, halt, because the changes you're making may have a broader impact than you are planning on. And they want to ensure that proper planning takes place. So that's why they're saying that if we continue that it's a non-exempt OPA, and that allows the ministry comment on it, because what you're deciding on has more than just is more than just about Central Manitoulin, and what you're deciding on is against the provincial policy. So the ministry now reserves the right to come in and put their opinion in on this OPA. That's what the letter says. The minister always reserves the right.
So what you're saying is, if I may, Mr. Chair, if we had our own planning board, we could do this?
If we had our own OPA, but it's not our OPA. The OPA is for bigger than Central Manitoulin.
So,
And
there you
the
go.
change that you're asking for, that council's asking for, is against the provincial policy. So there are requirements in place that the ministry says needs to be done in order to make this change. So they want to halt the process to ensure that all the proper planning is done in order to change this, because the change that you're making may affect Billings Township. It may affect Gore Bay, Burpee Mills, because you're changing our official plan.
Yes, Richard.
Yeah, well, this is where things get a little bit query here, is that the policy concerns are that while the provincial planning statement, the PPS 2024, does not explicitly address reductions to settlement area boundaries. Any such changes constitutes a convention of the land use and must be consistent with the PPS 224. So they're saying that there's nothing in the PPS 2024 that applies to reducing land for residential purposes, but it also doesn't have anything to do with the taking of land that's currently for other purposes and making it into residential. So, and one side of the face, they indicate that they want to protect farmland, which is what the proponents are doing in this case, and they're not able to do it because there's regulations that are here that nobody understands, obviously, because they're indicating it doesn't refer to it. So I think we're dealing with a can of worms here, and we need some more research. And I tried to get a hold of the lady that was referred to us from the ministry, but I wasn't able to reach her today. But we are still planning on having our public discussion on the 15th. Hopefully we'll have some more answers then. In the meantime, I'm still firmly in support of what the proponents are trying to do. They're doing exactly what we would expect them to do if they have good farmland, and they do have good farmland. It's been farmed for years, generations, and it's their land. So why shouldn't they be able to call it what it is? I still maintain that that's the logical approach to it, and we just have to find some wiggle room here with the ministry to agree to get off our back. Let us do it.
And I agree with you, Richard. I think that our motion was in order. I always felt that it was just a site-specific amendment for our own property, for the owner's property. But but then they decide that it's far more reaching. And the reduction and the expansion business, they go and suggest, oh, the criteria should be the same for the reduction as it is expansion. But they made that up. That was never,
Doesn't explicitly refer to it even.
no. So I think that there needs to be a lot more discussion. I think ideally, if we could sit down as a council with the ministry. I don't.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. I don't know that the planning board even needs to be involved at this point. They don't agree with it, but so be it.
Yep, bring the ministry of whoever in here, I'll have a good discussion with them.
Yeah,
Linda,
Dale, do you think we should consult our lawyer to see what they?
that was another idea that I had too. I mean, I would think that that's worthwhile. The owners had consulted their lawyer, and their lawyer's opinion was in a tribunal. That would carry, but I don't know what the cost would be involved, but it might be well to get an opinion, a legal opinion. We're getting an opinion from the ministry. That has nothing to do with a legal opinion at all. It's just their opinion.
so what, I'm sorry, Chair, this thing here where it said, the halt. We just ignore it. If we ignore it, we're ignoring a ministry order, basically.
Mhm.
And that doesn't favor, well, usually when you ignore ministry orders. So what do we do? Put a temporary hold on it for 30 days or 60 days or 90 days while we explore other options?
Richard,
Just in addition to that, I was talking to the planning board earlier this week to see whether we should proceed, since we got this letter, whether we should proceed with the public meeting. And they said it's already been advertised, so we have to really proceed anyways. So I'd kind of like to have that public meeting so that we can
Definitely.
hear from the public
Yeah.
and we can hear from, and we've had letters, as you've all seen, from residents near this property, and they're all quite solidly in support of it. So there's no opposition whatsoever to what they're asking us.
Do you think the ministry,
Done.
you think the ministry would show up? To defend it?
No.
If I get hold of them between now and the 15th, I'll certainly invite them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd like to wait until the public meeting and see if there's absolutely no opposition from the public or anything like that. $25,000 fine don't mean nothing to me. I don't care.
But 50,000 to the minister, to the municipality too.
Well, I think that's why we need to consult our lawyer.
Out of an abundance of caution, I will read into the record the paragraph which states what the ministry will do. It says, if a municipality does not follow the legal requirements related to considering an OPA or fails to make decisions that are consistent with the PPS and protect the provincial interests as outlined in Section 2 of the Planning Act, the ministry may need to consider other options to remedy these issues. And as the clerk, I will voice my objection in continuing against ministry approval.
If I may, given the fact that there's a fine involved, it indicate that some type of law or protocol has been breached. And that would represent me being in violation of my CPA designation, should I continue to be part of it. So should council decide that they want to continue down this path, I have to recuse myself of it, basically to protect my CPA designation. Because if I am considered to be involved in the decision-making process in this, I will be charged under my CPA designation as breaking a law, and I will lose my designation, and I can't do that. So I mean, I can help as much as I can, but I cannot really, support or not support this, unfortunately.
You don't get a vote.
Chair,
I understand.
if we did let's just say if we temporary halted it for 90 days, would that be? We wouldn't be in breach then, eh? Because we've actually said, we'll hold it for 90 days pending the outcome of investigations. Then we've,
I think we have to take the formal step to halt it as we've been requested to do. And then we have a little bit of breathing room to try and find.
Yeah, temporary hold it.
Another avenue here.
We can advance through different avenues, we just can't continue down the same avenue. I think. So I mean, if you wanna halt the one process and then investigate legal concepts or other methodologies, then sure, but I don't think they want you to continue down the vein it's going down.
but it takes you off the hook, takes council off the hook. And councillors off the hook if we temporarily hold it, but I'm against holding or just putting it out, like saying, no. Cause basically we've been told that we can't do this after we've done it. And we followed the rules and our contest, so. And I don't like that, so.
Would you entertain a motion at this point for a 90-day pause until we have more information and direction?
I would, if it's gonna work.
We're still going to have our public meeting.
Yes,
It's all posted now and it'll be good to hear. For the public, we've got a letter from Jamie Watson after this and yeah, I think definitely there should be dialogue yet with the minister.
definitely.
Yeah, Mr. Chair. Denise, would a 90-day pause on this and let the meeting go forward? Would that be in contravention of request from the province?
The public
Pass.
meeting to get input from the public. It doesn't make a decision one way or the other. The decision is normally made later after the public meeting, so the public meeting can still go forward.
Okay, so a motion to pause the process for 90 days would be acceptable.
Yeah, it would probably satisfy the ministry while we look at all the options that are possible in that time.
Thank you.
The chair, will you entertain a question from the gallery?
Sure. Through you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
In my view of this situation, nothing truly happens until the board makes an official decision on this. So why the need for 90-day extension on this? We can continue on as processed and until the board makes an official, yep, planning board, we want you to do this. Nothing is in contravention with what the ministry is saying. But until you officially make that ruling, you're not in violation of anything that the ministry did. Required.
Yeah, because we're going to a public meeting, which is part of the process.
Yeah.
And then those recommendations will go to the planning board. Are we in?
Well, that's what they asked for, is a halt to it, that's
Yeah.
what we're doing, so I can't see anything untoward on that process. We'll still proceed with the public meeting so that we're able to hear from the public and you're part of it, so everybody's had a chance then to bring us up to speed and gives us a bit more confidence in what decision we still have to make.
Through you, Mr. Chair. But I don't feel there's a need to put a 90-day block on this. Just leave it open. Let's have the meeting on the 15th and see where things go from there until we get answers and the council's satisfied that, you know, we're making the right decision.
I think the only thing is a pause gives us some time to. We haven't even had any formal discussion with the ministry at all. Nothing. I'm sure the planning board has, but we haven't. I think we need an opportunity to to have dialogue with the ministry. It's between the ministry and the municipality. I don't think it has anything to do with the planning board. And I think we have to work out whatever options work the best for the owners and the municipality with the ministry. And I think it's gonna take some time. I mean, how many years has it been that it's been zoned that way? Close to 50 years, probably.
But we've been working on this for a year, knowing.
That's right. So.
Yeah.
I think we need some time to dialogue with them, try to convince them. Come up with options that will work for all the parties. Not just some statement that it's almost like a threat of penalty. You know, they're not saying that, they're saying, you know, there may be other options to remedy these issues. They're not threatening hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I also think the purpose of a halt as requested by the ministry is because the Planning Act has timelines associated with it. And putting a formal halt on the process halts those timelines.
Okay.
But does it halt the public meeting and everything? If we put in a halt?
No, I don't.
It's going forward regardless.
It's already said.
Then that is part of our meeting, and then usually the responses in that public meeting then go to us for a motion on whether we're in favor or not to go to the planning board. So now how will that process work, Mr. Mayor?
Well,
That's the way
it does
public
say-
meetings usually work, so.
It does say in this letter that we have to act on the recommendations of the planning board. So to me, it's got to go back through the planning board in order to get their good graces, in order for us to willfully make a decision that isn't gonna be countermanded by somebody else.
Okay, so usually we have a public meeting, we get the public's comments and the whole bit. And then council makes a motion whether we recommend it or don't recommend it to the planning board. So after that public meeting and say we do recommend, yep, proceed with this to the planning board, then it would go through the planning process and then, or are we still guilty from the ministry for approving it?
Well, the interesting thing is, Mr. Chairman, that the letter that was written from the ministry was written to the municipality and not to planning board.
That's right.
And just copied to the planning board. So to me, that puts the illness on our table, but they're saying, well, you don't have any table because we're just gonna countermand it if you.
But yeah, so as I say, I'm just wondering what's gonna happen at the public meeting, like. If we go, yep, we recommend this to the planning board, are we still being threatened with fines?
There's not always a recommendation to council after a public meeting. There's been times when we've had public meetings and council has paused the bylaw passing for further information. So it's not required that these things be passed at the exact same meeting that the public meeting occurs. You can have your public meeting, you can gather your information and still pause and halt the process, send that information back to the planning board so that they have information, and then we can proceed at a time that we've straightened everything out with the ministry. All this is information gathering at the public meeting.
So if I may, Mr. Chair, the 90-day pause puts us in compliance with the request of the ministry.
We're assuming, I mean.
So I'll make a motion for
There's some.
the 90-day pause.
Okay, first of all, can we get a first and a second to receive the correspondence? Because that hadn't happened yet.
Richard? Brian?
Okay, and how did you want that motion to read then? Like, what are you actually pausing? We're pausing
The
the,
application,
pausing the application of,
and you can quote the application, the numbers right there.
And it gives you the number right there anyway. So we'll
And if
just,
you want a 90-day, I think I heard 60-day as well.
decided to discuss and it's open, I just threw out 90 days, if you figure 60 days gonna do it, then let's go 60. So,
And it's my opinion that we don't even need to do that now, we can have the
yeah,
public meeting. Then if we want to have a pause period to negotiate with the ministry, we can do that.
Before giving the recommendation to the.
Yeah,
planning board,
exactly.
yeah.
But
but
we
the thing
don't,
is, if we
So I don't
pause,
think we need.
we don't
so
need
I
that.
don't think we need.
I think we do, because we have to pause the, when the ministry recommends something, it's not just the word recommend put in there. Usually, they'll use the same logic and it'll be an order.
It's usually in order, so.
Yeah, so,
They're being polite.
so you have, yeah, they're just putting recommendations instead of an order. So, when you deal with them, so I think we're protecting ourselves, we're stopping the process, we're not canceling the process. Or if we stop the process of 60 days and then we get our information and then we can make our recommendations and then let it go on then, or come back on stream. And that way, nobody loses anything except for 60 days, so. I'm just worried about not protecting the council.
So we had a motion, what was that motion again? 90 days or 60 days?
Well, my motion was for 90 days, but is council.
You're not on this committee, though, eh? Or are you?
Yeah, yeah, I,
Are you?
I'm sure. I stand to be corrected.
Yeah, you are.
So,
Linda's not.
so, if I may, Denise, would we be okay with 60 days?
Pause the process for however long you want. Staff will look and discuss with the ministry as to what our options are. We can present a report back. I'm sure the planning board is doing that as well at this time, but it does give us some time, 60 or 90, whatever council wishes, we will work within that timeline.
I'd like to leave it at 90 days.
I'll second it.
The second that.
So the motion is to pause the application process for 90 days and use the wording that's in the letter.
Yeah.
In order to
Yeah.
basically achieve that. Yeah.
Gives us time to educate the ministry.
We'll get that.
Go get it there, don't you?
That was the motion that's on the floor, by John. So John, put it out there, is there a seconder on that then?
I second it.
Right.
John, Brian, okay.
Any further discussion? Anybody opposed? Here. Okay. Let's move on to, we've got, letter from Jamie Watson. That's, our, B, 8B. I think everybody has gotten that letter and able to read it. I have a motion that we have received the letter. Brian, Richard, thank you. Any comments, any on that letter?
I gather that the public meeting will hear quite a bit of that letter, so. Look forward to it.
Yeah, I pretty much should agree with everything that's in the letter. I think it's very well wrote, answered a lot of questions. And I didn't really understand the ministry, so.
I did notice that the letter from the ministry talked about projected population, employment forecast, but projected population, we've already got good data. It came from our consultant and Central Manitoulin in the next 10 years is 8% increase. In the next 20 years, it's another 8% to 2045. I don't know how that translates to new housing lot demand, but definitely the vacancy that's there in the two subdivisions is far more than what the population increase is predicted. And that increase came from the Ministry of Finance and the Census Division. So it's not just made up.
And if I may, Mr. Chair, we have had proponents from Providence Bay that have came to us with plans to put in more lots. And future planning, so the housing market is being looked at in that particular town by residents that are there, so. I'd say, I don't understand the ministry's raising this.
Okay, any comments? Any further comments on the letter? Thank you for the letter, well written, and I'm sure we'll listen to that discussion on Thursday. Owen, anybody opposed to reception of the letter? That's carried. Okay. The next correspondence is from the family health team. As everybody knows, there was a major flood in the clinic, and they're able to move into the manse in the church in town, and but they're asking for 6 plastic tables and 30 chairs to be able to set up, start setting up the clinic as a temporary spot.
What would be the requirements of staff, and would they have to be moved back and forth when they're opened and closed, like, or can they be stored, like, that'd be my question.
If I may.
To staff.
I was speaking with Dave about this earlier, our maintenance supervisor, and he says as long as they can make arrangements to have their folks pick up the tables and chairs from one of the arenas, because we do not need the tables and chairs while there's ice in the arena. There might be a requirement once the ice is gone, and that would affect whatever programming we have, and we may need the tables and chairs back.
Yeah.
But until such time, as long as he has the help who can provide the labor and the vehicle to load up the chairs and tables and take them to the manse and bring them back, he's okay with it.
Okay. And is there a chance that they could be stored right there?
Well, there's a room that all those tables that came out of the surplus from the arena, they're in a room in the church right now. And there's room there they could break them down and store them there. But in the manse, yeah, there's a basement. Yeah, there's quite a bit of room.
But I'm just thinking, hauling stuff back and forth
Right.
and but if there was a spot there and then they just get them and set them up and,
Yeah.
I don't have a problem.
Yeah, the way Dave outlined it to me, it seemed to be a one-time move and a one-time return.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't mention anything about multiple, you used it on Sunday, you bring it back and I think it was just a one-time.
I think it's the best thing we can do is support our community health people, so.
And in my opinion, I don't think we would rent them, we would lend them.
Sure, I don't wanna see anybody.
I
Richard,
make that motion, Mr. Chairman. Or the least we can do to assist them. I'll second that motion.
And I took a peek in the window after it happened, holy crap. It was a mess in there. Oh,
Said it was old.
So is there any time
Water
period just
and
until
As
to be
required.
determined?
yeah.
Lots of little people running around there right now.
the earliest that the tables would be needed would be probably in the spring and April.
Once the ice comes out, we start our summer programming within the arenas. At that point, we'd have to make a decision how bad we need those items back or not.
Yeah,
So I'm guessing by the time the ice is out and everything else, end of March,
Yeah.
early April would probably be the earliest we would possibly need it.
yeah.
That's right.
Hopefully the clinic will be up and running by that time.
Hope so.
Okay, anybody opposed to that motion? That's carried. Year to date, our roads committee. We have a motion that we put the year to date. Thank you, Rose, and seconded. Richard? Any comments, any questions on the roads here today? Anybody opposed to accepting those, the data for year-to-date roads through December 31st? Period. We'll move on to the year-to-date for the waste and water. We have a motion to put those forward.
Joe will give you that motion.
Thanks, John.
I'll second it. I'll second.
Brian. Any comments on the? Yeah.
Sure, if I may, under the item of sewer maintenance, and that would be third line down. There's very little spent on maintenance. I'm wondering whether we could maybe increase that amount, and particularly in the matter of manholes on Main Street, when we come down through. The one up by Williams hardware store is definitely on an angle. To me, looking at it, it looks like it's the benching for the lid is actually giving way. And I noticed a lot of people driving down the road, they try and avoid that little bump in the road. So I wonder if we couldn't have either our staff look at rebenching like 2 or 3 manhole covers on the municipal streets or the highway streets, MTO streets. And look at maybe budgeting some extra money to have them rebench. It's an issue I brought up 2 years ago in a written complaint, but bringing it up now.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, you're talking about in front of Williams, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a manhole bit in the road base, in the asphalt.
Oh, that's a provincial highway, sir.
It is, but the manhole belongs to us.
Does it?
It's a sewer manhole running down the street, and that particular manhole is on an angle. Actually, one of our people here is lives right across from it almost. So what I see is failing
I
benching
don't think we,
in the manhole. And I was wondering if we couldn't have someone, staff, look at it and then figure out who's going to repair it if it needs repairing.
want to be 3 years.
Just asking.
We want to have a direction to staff to look at that.
I think that we should do that thing at this point in time.
Or maybe just an alignment needed, or who knows how much
You don't know until you're told,
we
but
haven't looked at it.
yeah. Maybe that could be just a direction of staff at this point.
The manhole cover in front of Williamson's?
Yeah,
That's one of them.
That's one of them. There's a couple of
Yeah.
in town that are
Manhole
down
cover.
that highway that are bad.
Road municipality,
But it's the worst.
Well, I didn't know that one. I've hit it from or something.
anything further? Yeah, go ahead, Bruce.
Everybody noticed the hydro bill?
Yep.
Just saying, guys. And we haven't done 26 yet.
Which hydro bill are you looking at?
Both of them, one for sewer hydro plant,
Yeah,
that's 20% over. And the other one is water plant, and that's 30%.
I guess we could inquire. I'm sure
It's not gonna matter, Dale.
it's not that high.
No, because they're gonna, what did they say, 29%? This year, 29% more.
If I may, in our budget, I did an analysis, I took a look at all of our hydro costs, and I took a look at the energy rebate we're getting back is also going to increase, but not the same rate as the expenditure. By the time I net it out, it looks to be approximately 20%, not the full 29% as published. No, because I mean, the article did in fact say 29%, but it also did reference the rebate. So by the time you calculate the rebate in there, you're looking at, I think it was 19.20. I just remember the 20% that said, okay, so I took, and for a budget point of view, I took our actual expenditures for 2025 and said that plus 20%, round it up and let's go.
Yeah.
So that's what I did in terms of the budget for 2026, because that seemed to be the most reasonable. Now, because this is going to be new, I don't know how close we come to it, but that was the process that we used for the 2026 budget. I mean, that is reflected in all the budget pages that have hydro. It's gonna say actual plus 20%, that's in the comment section on that.
Any
And
further?
you're right, those road rates did go up quite a bit. Unfortunately.
Anything further on year to date? Anybody opposed? That's carried. Okay, now we're just down to our roads committee operating in capital and waste and water operating in capital. Those have already gone to committee of the whole.
There's been no major changes to the budget, any of the budgets, to be honest with you. I have tweaked the hydro on all of them. Because that was, as was indicated, clearly incorrect after our last meeting. Other than that, I don't believe I've made any significant changes to any of the budgets. And the budget documents I gave you tonight are representative of everything up until committee of the whole. I don't, and, you know, they're for discussion purposes, but like, Mr. Chair mentioned, they have gone to the committee of the whole, they're for discussion purposes at this point.
Is there any comments, any questions that you might have yet for the capital or the operating? Okay. We didn't make a motion, but don't think we have to because they've already gone.
Right.
And we're at adjournment time. Somebody like to adjourn?
I'm gonna give you that motion, Chair.
John? You second? Rose? Next.